What's up, guys? Welcome back to our podcast, A Court of Heaven and Hell. I'm Lauren, aka Heaven.
And I'm Ellie. I'm also known as
And
Hel.
if you don't already know, we are a book podcast that focuses on different romantasy series and novels. And today's episode, we are going to be talking about the ever popular Maasverse. With that said, I want to go ahead and let you guys know that this is a big spoiler warning. We are going to be covering all of Sarah J Maas's content today. I mean, anything that she has written is not off limits, bonus chapters, all books in all of her series. So if you are not 100% caught up, we will be doing it by, book series. So that way you can kind of keep track a little bit. But that being said, some of the crossovers are going to involve spoilers from other series and other things might come up. Just be very aware that if you're listening to today's episode, it is probably better if you have read all of Sarah J Maas's work. We don't want to spoil anything for anybody. So if not, go ahead and finish those and then come back and watch this when you're done. Or if you have, buckle up. This episode will include not only our unpopular opinions, but write ins from some of our listeners, as well as random social media and internet findings that we scoured the internet for. So get excited because this is going to be a really more fun, unhinged, relaxed episode. We will split it up by the series to keep it organized.
Please see our show notes for content and trigger warnings. We are an explicit podcast for adults. Be sure to check out our past episodes where we cover other romantasy series and novels. Lastly, take some time to rate and review us, or if you're watching this video on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe and let us know your thoughts in the comments.
Yeah. All right, guys. So, just starting off, we just want to go ahead and explain. Obviously, we love the Maasverse. It's not like we're going to sit here and just hate on it, but nothing's perfect and everything that we love still has things that we don't love about it. So, that being said, if you're not a regular listener, we just wanted to take a second to be like, this is the series that literally encouraged us to start our podcast. It's the first book series that we both fell in love with as far as romantasy goes and sent us on this journey that we're on. So we're definitely inspired by the Maasverse and we love it very much. It's very close to our hearts. But that being said, today, nothing's off limits. We're going to talk about whatever we want, however we feel about things that other people may like, other people may not. So we just want to go ahead and ask that if you guys are commenting, if you have a difference of opinion, we definitely encourage you guys to let us know, to talk about it with us in the comments or on our social media. But please keep it respectful and be respectful of other people's opinions, even if they may be different than yours or if you feel a different way. Like, it's nothing to be offensive here. If you like something that we don't like, that's totally okay. If we like something that you don't like, that's totally okay. Reading is subjective. Everything is up for debate and up for opinion, but we just want to keep it respectful and nice and kind, even if we're talking a little bit of shit. Okay? All right. So let's get into it.
Yes. Also remember these are book characters. These are books. They don't exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
This isn't real.
Yeah. We're not talking about real people. There's no need to get super mean or catty or anything like that. We're just having fun. We are going to go ahead and start with Crescent City for a couple reasons. Because A, it's her newest series. It has the most mixed opinions about it, in my personal opinion, especially like book to book. I feel like people feel very differently about each of the books, but also it was the hardest for us to find unpopular opinions about. I don't know if it's because it's not her most popular series, so there's less people talking about it and things like that, but we didn't get a whole lot of submissions, and Crescent City, at least the first book, is like my favorite book. I don't have a whole lot of negative opinions about it until it comes to the last book maybe, and even then, I don't really think that's that unpopular. I think a lot of people are on the same page
Yeah.
as us. There's not really a whole lot to say about Crescent City, but either way, we're gonna go ahead and start there. So, Ellie, what is your unpopular opinion about Crescent City?
Okay, this one might be like really intense to start with because this is going to give away a lot of my other opinions. But okay, to me, Hunt is by far, when I say by far, not even in the same fucking category, by far the best main male character out of the three series.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Hunt is my baby boo. I love Hunt. I definitely agree with that statement. I will say that it is unpopular. I love
Yeah, it
Resan.
is.
I love Resan, but to me, if you're just like talking about just like straight like pound for pound, like for me, I have to say that Hunt wins out. I don't know if I would say by far for me personally, but
Mhm.
he's the best. Like you're not gonna get any argument from me there. And yeah,
Yes,
we'll talk about
I
Rowan a
feel that.
lot through this whole episode, but yeah, he he's not even close between the battle of these two for me. But Hunt comes out on top. But yeah. But
Period.
yeah, so that is tough because I especially now see a ton of like hate online for Hunt, and I have to say I don't get it.
Really? He's such like a precious baby though. He's not like problematic
Yeah.
compared to Rhysand and Rowan.
Yeah.
The one thing I can think of is he did lie to Bryce in the first book, but whatever.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
mean,
Whatever. Like I'll get over it. I'm
yeah.
like, do I want to bring this up now? He didn't like break anyone's arm or punch someone.
Yeah.
To me, that's why I like Hunt. I love Hunt. He's just so nice too. And I don't know. Hunt's just the best. He's like the Cassian of Crescent City. That's probably why
Yeah.
he's my favorite out of the three main male characters.
Yeah, I could get that. I definitely I think personally he is a little bit more broody than Cassian, like probably a little bit more. Definitely at least at first he was the grumpy and the grumpy sunshine dynamic between him and Bryce in the
Yeah.
first book. So definitely he's like a little bit more like broody in his feelings, which I like that about him. That doesn't bother me at all that way, but people just like really don't like him and it blows my mind because I love him. And so it's just really interesting. But yeah, like for me, of the
Hmm.
three main males, he has the most green flags. He has the least amount of red flags, which don't get me wrong, red flags are not a disqualification for me, okay? As we say every single fucking episode, all things come back to Twilight. If anybody has red flags, it's fucking Edward Cullen, and I'll sit here and claim Team Edward proudly. So red flags don't necessarily disqualify you for me, but I will say, like, of the three, he has the most green flags. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't want to call anybody out, but I was looking at a social media post recently where they were talking about it in like depth, like talking about like how much they hate Hunt. They were like, I hate him. I don't like want to see him on paper. If I have to read about him anymore, like I'm gonna be so upset. Well, and I was just like, wow, people really feel like that. So it's just really interesting. And that's why I would say it definitely counts as an unpopular opinion because not everybody feels the way that we do about this, I will say. I will say a lot of these things are going to be really funny too, because I feel like a lot of stuff me and Ellie do agree on. So amongst us, it's not unpopular. But when I go into the world and read what other people think about it, I'm like, wow, wow. Are we like, am I out of touch? I don't care. I guess my first unpopular opinion about Crescent City is probably going to be that Crescent City, the first one, House of Earth and Blood, is in my opinion, maybe Sarah J Maas's best book. For me, there's a couple other ones that maybe contend with it, but when I think about the first book, for it being the first book in a series versus ACOTAR and versus Throne of Glass, for me, it's not even a question. House of Earth and Blood is the best one. And then as far as just overall story and plot and characters and emotion and just everything between all her series, I still think that it comes out like possibly on top for me. The first one. And it's so unfortunate that it devolved from there because the first one is so near and dear to my heart. I don't see a lot of people saying like that they agree with that. I do see people that say that they really love it, but I would not say it's a popular opinion amongst the fandom. But to me, maybe her best book, period. The beginning is a little bit tough to just jump into because there's a lot going on. But on my second read, oh my God, it's so good. It's so good.
It's a really good book. It's my second favorite Sarah J Maas book.
Yeah.
But I think like with it being so good and it's the first book, it's like our expectations are so high for the rest of the series. And after that, it just
Yeah.
went down. It went down. I wish Bryce stayed how she was in Crescent City 1,
Yeah.
but I like my perfect book would be Bryce from Crescent City 1, but also with Rune and Lydia now. If
Interesting.
that makes
Yeah.
any sense.
Yeah. I think the tough part is that if we're being 100% honest, Bryce almost isn't even the main character of Crescent City 2, Sky and Breath. A lot of the male side characters step up and take on major plot points in the second book, which is fine when it was building towards something. When we thought the second book to me was great when it was building up to something bigger and was going to be this, just amazing, like basically setup for this last story. And I feel like the fact that the last book fell flat is why the second book gets tainted. The first book is basically a standalone book. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has the character development from we literally see Bryce go from being like a bratty teenager to like having to grow the fuck up like throughout the pace of a story. It's got the element of a plot twist and just trying to figure out who did what. You get great tension between Bryce and Hunt, but also it's not just about that. There's other things going on. So to me, the first book is just like really good. The third book really just unfortunately messed it up for me. It all built towards a story that like wasn't my favorite. I felt like we were let down about a lot of things. I felt like a lot of it was rushed, even though it was such a long book. It still felt like not enough really happened in it. And the things that did happen weren't exactly my favorite. Unfortunate, and that's unfortunate because I'm not one of those people that has an issue that the ACOTAR people weren't in it more. I don't care about that because it's not an ACOTAR book. As long as that story like made sense and was flushed out, obviously I would have loved if the characters were in it more, but the fact that they weren't didn't make me not like the book. But it definitely was like the plot and just like where it ended and just no, like just it just to me it didn't stand up to the level of the first book. So that was a little bit unfortunate, but still for me, the first book, it can stand as its own work. It stands on its own. If there had never been a second and third book, like I probably would have been okay with the first book ending like where it did. Obviously, I love some of the side characters that we got to expand on their stories, but just thinking about it as a reader, if it had just been the first book, it would have been okay. So I don't know. To me, like not even a question as far as the first books in the series, it's the best one. But for me, it might be my favorite Sarah J Maas book, just period. And then yeah, moving on from there, because I love the first book so much, and because the other 2 did fall a little bit flat for me, I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, it's just one I've never seen anybody else say, so I don't know how the fandom feels about it necessarily, but for me, Micah, as far as Crescent City goes, is a way better villain than Rigelus and Asteri and all of that. Micah is part of what made that first book so good. Just that whole just scene where we find out that Micah is the one who was behind everything, the plotting from the beginning, the fact that he was like in control of Hunt and like just setting all of this up, like big braining it behind the operations while they're trying to figure out what's going on, his motive, the way that he actually went about it, like their final showdown to me, like that was way better with Micah than it was with Regulus because let's be real, Bryce wins in both situations, but it it fell flat in Crescent City 3. Also, I feel like Rigelus was just not as big and bad as he thought he was. Don't get me wrong, he's severely effed up. And I don't know, but he's got 6 other people with him helping be a villain and all of this stuff. And just Micah was like, fuck the Asteri, fuck everybody else. Like, I'm here for me. And I loved that about him. And like I said, the way he big brained the whole thing was just really good for me. He's my favorite. He might be one of my
Yeah,
favorites in all of the series.
he was a really good villain. And then having Micah compared to Rigelus, who Rigelus appears as like a teenage boy. I'm supposed to be scared of this guy.
Yeah. I will say that him being a teenage boy makes it a little bit more eerie for me when he is super evil because I'm like, imagine like a little kid being that evil. Like, it's giving Damien from the fucking Omen type shit. But I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Rigulus is whatever. I feel like I was just so let down by the whole culmination of everything in the last
Mm-hmm.
book that it's just, dude, not that scary. You're not. You're really just not. Sorry. I don't know. And now you're trapped in a black hole. I can't wait till they come back.
I swear to God, dude.
They're coming back. I'm not even being funny. They're coming back. I almost guarantee it. The way that they ended, like, they're coming back. I don't know how, but it's happening. Whether it's in the same bodies or not, they're coming back.
I would fucking hate
Mm.
that. I'd be like, yeah, never mind. I don't.
Yeah. I wouldn't hate it necessarily if it made sense, but I can almost guarantee you it's going to happen. They like, I don't know why. I just feel that in my bones. But then again, I don't know. I really don't know where things are going just based off of the last couple books that have been put out. So I'm very curious and I still have hope. I still have hope that we're gonna get a really good like ending and story for everything, but I don't know. I'm definitely I don't want to say I'm losing faith, but I'm definitely like, this could go one of two ways. I will say I don't know if I'll ever be as hyped for another Sarah J Maas book release as I was for Crescent City 3 just because of like how disappointed I was. And that's an unpopular opinion for you.
I was so excited. Also, it's like the fact that we're apparently not going to get a book until probably 2026 is wild. I'm
Oh,
like,
I heard 2025. They said that they're not going to release
so
one before February of 2025, but that still leaves 9 months of the year for it to come out. Is
it's
possible.
going to be over a year probably. Like the latest we're going to get it is February 2026. And then after that, it's going to be another 2 years.
Now I heard
And I'm like,
2025. Are you sure it's 2026?
it's 2026 because apparently the last House of Flame and Shadow is part of the last cycle for Bloomsbury or something. I don't know. This is what I saw online. I don't really understand their cycling thing. I just saw the latest we could get ACOTAR 6 is February 2026. So we'll get it before then, but we'll see. But it's going to be basically every 2 years.
I guess it makes sense for the latest to be 2026. I just feel like it's highly likely it'll come out in the second half of 2025. I could be wrong. I mean,
I
we haven't even
hope.
gotten an announcement yet, which is crappy. But especially because I'm seeing
Yeah.
we got the announcement for Sky Shade, we got the announcement for Onyx Storm. Today we got the announcement for Oathbound, the third Legendborn book. I'm like, we're getting all of
Oh, did we?
Mhm.
Was that today?
Yeah, it happened today.
Oh.
But literally so many like books are announcing their like next coming up, and it's just like sitting here waiting for the Saturday Mass one. But then again, like I also try not to hate too much because like she did just release a book in January. I just feel like it's because it's not the ACOTAR book that everyone's waiting for that it seems like such a big deal. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Because if it doesn't come out until 2025 or 2026. That's 4 years from when the last book was released. That's crazy. That's crazy. I know our fan
It
base is
is.
loyal and people really, really get excited about this, but 4 years between your book series, that's asking for a lot. Kids that were in high school graduated in that time. Like, or kids that are starting college graduated in that time. And I'm just like, that's like a big ask for your fandom, 4 years between a book series. Even if you released another book in between, it's like, whew, that's crazy. But
Yeah, it is a lot.
unfortunately, Silver Flames was like the start of a new chapter and it's a one off. I'm sure it will tie into the next book, but I don't know. It's like starting something and then waiting 4 years before you get to the next part. It's
Mhm.
like that is a long time. People lose interest today like that. So, yeah. Finishing up on Crescent City, my number one unpopular opinion, and I say this with the most I want you to understand. I say this with my whole ness from the bottom of my heart. Danica is a shitty friend, okay? Danica is not a good friend to Bryce. She wasn't when she was alive. She's a little bit better in death, but oh my God, did she set this girl up for failure? The few little glimpses we get about who she was, like when they were friends before, like lying, hiding information, literally just setting her friend up like to just no. She's just not a good friend. She you don't do the kind of things that Danica did to the person that you are supposed to love more than pretty much anybody else in the world. It's not like you have a great relationship with your parents. Y'all are over here talking about basically loyal until death and beyond. Like y'all are damn near married and your whole relationship is based on a lie. You manipulated her, you drugged her, you got her drunk and tattooed a weapon into her body. I just like
Yeah.
I cannot co-sign the whole Bryce and Danica relationship. I think they're cute. I think that their friendship is what it was. I think it was really important for Bryce and it was good for it wasn't good for her, but it was meaningful for her in a time in her life where I'm not taking away from the fact that like they love each other and that they were actually friends, but I just think it was a toxic friendship, to be 100% honest. And Danica is just giving me toxic vibes. And if you go back and watch our episode on the bonus chapters of Crescent City 3, you will get a bigger, fuller aspect of how I really felt about it. But it's a bonus chapter in the last book. But yeah, no, Danica.
I didn't really dislike her until you did point out in the bonus chapters that like she did push Bryce to get drunk. She was like, "No, let's go out. Like you have to work in the morning. No, let's go out. Let's go out. Let's get these shots. Let's keep drinking." And then she went to go take her to get a tattoo, and that kind of comes into play of consent. And like the second consent is a question from a character, I'm like, I can't. That is the biggest ick for me. Biggest ick. Like so yeah, fuck Danica. She's a
Yeah,
terrible person.
not.
Oops.
Sorry, guys. Just got her high, got her drunk. She still said she didn't want to get the tattoo when they first showed up there, and she
Yeah.
coerced her into getting it, like, "Oh, it'll be fine," and she didn't just get, like, a tiny butterfly or something like that, not that would have made a difference or made it better. She gave this bitch a full back piece while she was not in a mindset to consent. Like, I can't, not to mention hiding your mate from your best friends, not like just all the things that she did and didn't tell her about. And then beyond just convincing her to get a tattoo when she didn't want one, it's the tattoo that she gave her. She put something in her that was extremely valuable that could risk her life without even talking to her about it. And just, yeah, it's just major no for me, unfortunately. Yeah. And I think that she was struggling. I think that she was going through some shit. And that doesn't make it right or whatever. I'm just acknowledging that. I think that even the people in the book, like when we're reading the bonus chapter, the people around her like are pointing that out about how like she's not really herself and she's making rash decisions and stuff like that. But I don't know. Sabine isn't great. So I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, Sabine, whatever. Sabine's got her own issues. But yeah, Danica was just not who I thought she was when I was reading the first couple books or whatever. Yeah. And I should have gotten that. I should have gotten that when she had the horn put in Bryce without her permission from the beginning. And then I definitely should have known when Baxian showed up and it was this huge secret and she was doing all this research she didn't tell anybody about, and she hid the papers in Bryce's coffee table and just really made this girl a target for people that could have ended her life and didn't talk to her about anything. Running theme that you will see for things that I don't really care for in all of these is like communication. I do not like that, like the miscommunication thing is something that will just always irk me in any kind of book that I read. It happens all the time. It's like a huge, I guess it's a trope, but contemporary romance. It happens in just in all of these fantasy books, romantasy books, like just books I read in general. There's always some form of miscommunication, and the dramas all started because people can't talk to each other. And I will say that to a certain extent, that does just it really gets on my nerves, really grinds my gears, especially when it's something like this. Girl, you should have told her what was going on. Like you were ready to die for this. You knew you were probably going to die for this. And you just let her go on being naive and not knowing what the hell was going on for years and years and made her a target. And I just, yeah, not it for me.
Yeah, if your friends like that, they're not your friend anyway.
Yeah. No, seriously. They're just not. And also just, yeah, don't obviously I don't think we have to tell people that, but yeah, consent, very important. Getting people drunk and then convincing them to do things that they wouldn't do when they were sober, and not, especially when you add drugs and just other things to the mix, that's bad. It's very bad. It shouldn't even be a question. That's not okay. We don't condone that kind of shit around here. So yeah, sorry, Danica. RIP. Like I said, you did get a little bit better in death. You did help our girl out a couple times. I feel bad that she lost you and that she struggles with that. But honestly, it's probably for the best that you got taken out of her life when you did, because who knows what other kind of fuck shit you would have put her through if you had still been around. And that is On period, okay? Yeah, none of our listeners wrote in anything about Crescent City, to be fair. I don't know if it's because it's the least amount of books of all of the books, the newest series, the all of that. Like, people, I feel like, don't have as much to say about it. But when I was looking on the internet, the one thing I did find that I would consider an unpopular opinion, believe it or not, is that there's a few people that really love House of Flame and Shadow. I don't know how I feel about this one way or the other. I'm gonna be honest, I don't hate House of Flame and Shadow. I feel like a lot of people have definitely jumped on the hate bandwagon. I feel like, once again, I've said this so many times and I mean it. When something is so hyped up, I feel like it can skew your opinion of it. When it doesn't quite live up to expectations, you can hate on it a little bit more than it probably deserves. But it wasn't great. And I didn't love it. And that's just the fact of the matter. It has nothing to do with the fact that the ACOTAR people weren't in it more. It has nothing to do with I don't know. It changed my perspective of one of my favorite characters in the whole Maasverse. It really focused on a lot of annoying, whiny, bratty, young people that are supposed to be these are supposed to be the oldest, other than the fact that Rhysand and them are, like, literally 500 plus years old. But as far as, like, people going on, these are the oldest group of people in all these books, and most of them were acting, like, super immature. I guess, like, when you compare, like, 25 to 30 compared to 500 years, like, obviously that's gonna be different, but these are people in their 30s, like, in their 20s, in their late 20s, like, why are they acting like teenagers? And then the fact that where we left off was just all of these bratty little kids basically are the ones who are in charge of everything. I can't. It, like, really gets to me a little bit. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I feel.
It wasn't a good book.
I don't know how I feel.
It wasn't a good book. It's totally fine.
I don't know if I agree with that. It wasn't I don't know. It wasn't bad. I don't hate it, but it definitely wasn't her best. Definitely wasn't her.
Literally, the only plot line I enjoyed when I finished was like Rune and Lydia's plot line together. I liked their ending. We still don't have answers to everything we came in here needing answers for. So it was just, I don't know. It was sloppy, but I don't know if this is 100% true. It might not be, 'cause I don't know where the fuck I read this, but I did see somewhere that Sarah J Maas had to rewrite like half the book or
Mhm.
something because of her editor. And I'm like, I feel like if that's true, the first version was probably so much better. Because she did mention things like, oh, you're going to get to, this is very random thing, I think, to say. But she said that Bryce is going to be like questioning, oh, where's all like toilet paper when she's in Prithian? That never happened. Like all this
Oh,
stuff never happened.
interesting. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, if there is another version of House of Flame and Shadow, I'd rather read
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I definitely think that it could have been better, especially because I think I've said this, Hunt and Bryce are just my favorite couple, and I just that's supposed to be where their story left off. Makes me kinda sad in
Yeah.
my heart. Like I said, as a book overall, I don't hate it. I don't love it. I just it's a book that I read. That's how I feel about it. I've read worse. I've read worse. I've read better. I've read much better by that same author. So I just, yeah. But yeah, I do feel like it's a little shitty when people give it flack for not having the ACOTAR people in it, because I just feel like that was just such a big expectation of people that never really should have been. But at the same time, I do have to blame a lot of that on the publishing company as well for hyping it up to be more of a crossover than it was. A lot of people thought we were going to get in game, and instead we got, I don't even know, we got Civil War, but not Civil War.
Yeah,
Like
shitty ass Civil War that
minimal,
wasn't even a fucking, oh my God, I can't. I
like very
can't.
minimal Civil War. So yeah. Yeah. Anyways, here's hope for the future. Here's hope that we get to see that epic
Yes.
battle where they're all helping each other
Hope so.
in the future. It did make me feel a little bit sad towards my ACOTAR people, because I just was like, really? I really just I don't know why. I can understand why Rhysand's position would have been what it was, and I can understand why all of them felt that way. But at the same time, I just thought that they were just gonna be like, "Oh, y'all need help? Fuck it." We're here to help. We're badasses. We'll come over there and help. And that was just not what I got. Which, when you really stop and think about it, yes, it does make sense. They got their own shit going on in Prithian. They literally already kicked these people out of their worlds. And they're like, we can't let them coming back here. I have a kid. I almost just lost my wife not even a couple months ago. So yeah, I get it. But it's just, I don't know. Also, I'll never get over the fucking death pact and just what that really means when it all comes down to it, because Faerun can never really be at risk ever.
I'm so tired of death pacts in books. Wait, what?
It's worse.
Is it considered a trope? I don't know. I hate it. I don't like
Well,
it.
of death pacts,
Anyway.
I'm not the biggest fan. I right up there with love triangles for me. True love
It's
triangles.
right up there. It's right up there with betrayal tropes for me.
Yeah.
That immediately will make me just go,
Interesting. I don't hate a betrayal trope if it's done right. But I will say pregnancy packs also. Pregnancy packs is like a thing that, back in the day. But this
yes.
pregnancy trope in general, not really my thing.
No.
Unless the only time that I'm really okay with like pregnancy in books is when it's like the end and it's, oh, okay, this is part of the happily ever after. Then whatever. But I don't want it to be like a complication during the main storyline. I will literally be like, dude, the only reason that I feel like Silver Flames got away with it was because that book wasn't actually about Pharaoh. And that I'll leave that there because I'll talk a little bit more about that in the last section. So that's really all that we have to say about Crescent City. If you guys can think of any more, please feel free to let us know. We'd love to talk about it. Like I said, the first one is one of my favorite books. So I want to hear all the unpopular opinions. I want to see if anybody has something that maybe I could agree with, or if I stand 10 toes down on everything that I said. Tell me why you disagree. But moving on to Throne of Glass.
Okay, so here we go, guys. I'm so sorry because I know this is a lot of people's favorite series.
Oh, I know. We're going to get.
But, oops, sorry. This was not my favorite series, but I'm going to start off by saying that I liked Tower of Dawn more than Empire of Storms because and okay, I guess I don't have to talk about all my other unpopular opinions about Throne of Glass because it ties in with all of this.
With the Tower of Dawn being better than Empire of Storms. I'm just say what you got to say because I am very
Yeah.
curious about why you think that.
So the reason why I prefer Tower of Dawn over Empire of Storms is because Irene is one of my favorite characters in Throne of Glass. I liked learning about her. I liked learning about Nezrin and her adventure. I literally don't give a fuck about Rowan and Aelin.
Me either.
I'm
I was
sorry,
like,
I don't.
me
The only
either.
thing that the only part that is good about Empire of Storms is like Lorcan and Lead and Manon and Dorian.
That's two couples.
I know, but
That's the same
I
amount of
liked
couples as
getting
Tower of Dawn.
I liked getting to see a different place too. Because these books there's 8 fucking books. So after a time I'm just like, all right. But I just wasn't super invested in Aelin, and she's obviously like the main character. So when I was doing the tandem read, I was more enjoying Tower of Dawn over Empire of Storms.
Okay. I disagree. I think I probably lean towards the popular opinion on this one. To me, it's not even a debate. And I think that the number one reason is on my chest right now. Manon Blackbeard is number one. Okay. She is that bitch. I don't care about Aelin, to be fair. I think I'll get into that more when we go merge our opinions. But Empire of Storms, as far as driving the plot forward, the villains, knowing what's going on, like the overall way that it ties into the story. It has Dorian, it has Manon. I Here's an unpopular opinion. I like Tower of Dawn. I think it's a great book. I think it is. I'm not upset that it was in there, but if you take away a majority of Tower of Dawn and find a way to work Chaol meeting Yrene into Empire of Storms and it just being a little bit longer, you can get rid of Tower of Dawn, in my personal opinion. It didn't have to be a whole standalone book. I'm not mad that it was, And I do like the different setting. I do really enjoy the characters. I really like Nezrin and Zartok. I really like that little twist of finding out about the Stygian spiders, the Bass
Mhm.
cats. I love the tie-in of the Torres Sesame and all of that. But I just, for me personally, I don't like Empire Storms is better. And just the way that it ends, it's so good. It's so good. It's such a good setup for Kingdom of Ash that, like, yeah, if you told me you had to get rid of, somebody was like, you can only have Empire Storms or Tower of Dawn, quick pick. I Tower of Dawn has to go. Sorry. So there's that.
That's okay, because I don't love these books.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, I don't really care either way, to be honest. I'm just saying when I was reading them together, like, when I had to go back to Tower of Dawn, I was, "Oh, thank God."
Interesting.
When I had to go back to Empire Storm, I was like, "Okay, like, whatever."
Interesting.
And I also will say having 2 books that are long as fuck and you have to read them together was so annoying.
I like the tandem read. There's an
Oh my
unpopular
god, it was
opinion.
so much.
I like the tandem
I'm just
read.
saying it was so much given how big the books are, and then you'd have to remember when to switch over, and if you're listening to it on Audible and you're reading the physical books, it was a shit show. Like,
Mhm.
if you're driving, you're like, "Oh god, I gotta switch over to the next book
Mhm.
now. Let me make sure I'm stopped." Like, like, it's it was a hassle. It was a
I
hassle.
will say that I get that because the one thing that I have going for the tandem read is that I didn't listen to any of these books, any of Throne of Glass on Audible. I read all of the books and I read them
Mhm.
very quickly. And I had it bookmarked before I even started. I went through and bookmarked all the places that I was supposed to change over. And
Mhm.
because I'm reading it on my Kindle, it was very easy to just click a button and go to the next one and then read till the bookmark and then click the button and go back. So it was very easy for me to keep track of. And I'm not going to lie to you. I did the tandem read in about 2 days. Yeah, I'm not even being funny.
Holy
I read
shit.
it. I read it very fast. I read it very fast. Not, oh, I read it like super fast. I just meant like I spent way too much time doing nothing but reading for like literally at most 3 days. I had read the tandem reads. Yeah. Yeah, I read all of Throne of Glass in a 2-week period until I got to the last book, and then the last book, it was just so happened to be right before Dragon Con. I had to stop because we were going to Dragon Con, so I literally had to stop, and then
My
I didn't
shirt.
exactly,
Sorry.
period, and then I didn't get back
Okay.
to it until a couple months later, so then I had to restart and reread all of Kingdom of Ash,
Oh,
but yeah,
damn.
so yeah, I'm very much like that. I get into these just modes where, like, all I wanna do is read, and I will read a ton and a ton and a ton, and then I'll just stop reading one day, and it'll end up turning into a month-long break, and then I won't read it all, and then I'll just go back and, like,
Mhm.
get super into it again, so that definitely happened to me. But yeah, anyways, that all of that to say, I actually really liked the tandem read. I recommend that people read it that way,
You should read it that way, it's
but
just process.
yeah, I get it. I'm trying to think, like, when I reread it, will I read it in the I probably will because 'cause I'll probably still be reading my ebook,
I probably will too.
but I'm trying to think, would I read them as 2 separate books now that I
I
know.
think I won't then.
Yeah.
But I will say the audio is so good. Audiobooks
Mhm.
are amazing because Elizabeth Evans does it. She's my favorite audiobook narrator.
Yeah. I'm looking forward
She's awesome.
I'm looking forward to it, to listening to them this time, getting a different experience. I wasn't nearly as into audiobooks as I am now when I read these. This was a couple years ago for me, to
Mhm.
be fair. But yeah, so I wasn't like this year. I've listened to so many audiobooks, but that was really something that I really only got into 7 or 8 months ago. Definitely looking forward to that different experience now. But yeah, okay. Okay. That's fair. No skin off my back. Just wow. Okay. Unpopular. Definitely.
Period.
Then the next thing, number 1, I think I just made it very clear based in that conversation, but Aelin is annoying, you guys. I'm sorry. She's annoying. Selena, Aelin, they're both annoying. I don't hate her. I don't she's not enough for me to be like, "Oh, I'm not gonna read this book because the main character, I don't like her that much." But of all of the female main characters, she is just annoying. She's frustrating. She's cocky in a way that she has really no right to be. I know that's a lot of people's justification for why she acts like that is, oh, she has the right to be like, but I just don't see that. Her being a badass assassin is one thing, and I definitely will put some respect on her name when it comes to that. But for the most part, I don't, she's, I, I don't really care about her one way or the other. I like her story is moving. Do not get me wrong. There's a lot. Like, I'm not upset, but the fact that she doesn't even end up being the actual like savior at the end of the day, it's just so many things to me that just I'm just like, wow. And I know this is probably going to be my number one most unpopular opinion that people disagree with. But yeah, just for me, she's just not it. There are things about her that I like and moments that I like that she has, but as an overall character, she's just not it. She's frustrating. And a big reason why when I was talking earlier about Bryce and basically how the last book really changed one of my favorite characters, the thing that I didn't like about her is that she was acting like Aelin, and it just really me not like her in that last book. So, yeah, just
Yeah.
not for me, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, y'all, but I also don't really like Aelin. Sorry. I know everyone like loves Throne of Glass and loves Aelin. It's a good series. It's a good series. It's a good series. I recommend everyone reads it. But out of the three, it's my least favorite. But yeah, I don't know. Aylin's just not for me. Not for me. She's my least favorite of the girly pops.
Yeah.
Bryce is my favorite in the first book.
Yeah, Bryce is still my favorite.
She's still my
I
favorite
choose to
too.
think that something's not right in that last book. I don't something's just not right in that last book, but Bryce is I love Bryce. She has a special place in my heart, which I know a lot of people listen. Hey, listen. I want to talk about unpopular opinions. I have to read all the time about how people hate Bryce, and she's my favorite. So I
That's
like
true.
okay, takes all kinds. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with liking Aelin. She just gets on my last nerve. To me, the standout female character in Throne of Glass is without a doubt Manon Blackbeak. Okay, without there's not even hesitation in my book. I do really like Urine. She's not in it enough for me to be like she's up there, and it really nothing breaks my heart more than the fact that Manon isn't in the first 3 books because just love her. But yeah, and then that being said, I know you did just say that this is your least favorite series. I would say that is an unpopular opinion and one that I probably shared until unfortunately the last Crescent City book. I think that unfortunately Crescent City has to be moved down to the bottom, which is just so unfortunate because the first book is like my favorite. But to be fair, this series has more really good books than Crescent City's one really good book, if that makes sense.
That's fair.
To me, Queen of Shadows, Empire of Storms, even Tower of Dawn, and Kingdom of Ash are all really good books. The last 4 books of the series is what makes me be like, this is a series worth investing the time into. Now, I will say a lot of people argue that's not okay, that it can't take a book 3.5, 4 books to get good for you to really be investing that much time into something to be like, oh, but I swear it gets good. And that's a fair opinion too. But for me, it really does it becomes just like epic in those last few books. I'm not the 100% biggest fan of how it all ends. So that does taint it a little bit for me too, especially because at least with Crescent City, I'm like, it's not necessarily the end. There's still another book for me to get more answers and more things. Whereas with Throne of Glass, essentially, we're to believe that this story is over. And I do wish that things had gone a little bit differently. I'm telling you, when I tell you that because Aylin's not my favorite, when I just kept waiting for her to have her moment, like fire her. She is gonna fucking just come in guns blazing, burn shit to the ground. And that's just not what happens. And that just, I will say that left me a little bit disappointed. But the way her story goes, and that is what it is. But yeah, unfortunately now, Crescent City may be at the bottom, but up until then, it was without a doubt for me. This was my least favorite series. Do with that what you will. Still recommend reading it, like you said.
Yeah. I don't think Throne of Glass is a bad series. I still tell everyone you should read it. Literally, even if I don't care about the main couple, I love everyone else pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And the last book, Kingdom of Ash, is definitely one of my favorite Sarah J Maas books. It was really good. I agree about the ending. It did bother me because I was like, why does she not have her powers? Like, why can't she be the one to kill Maeve? Oh my god, I hated it. I was like, are you kidding me? But I liked how all the characters ended, but there's still questions about them. What happened with Manon and Dorian?
Mm-hmm.
Because they left it open. I was like, what the fuck? So I'm hoping we get to see them again. I really want to see Manon. She's definitely my favorite Throne of Glass character, but yeah.
I think that with a crossover just being already a thing, I think that it's going to have to happen. And I think that if anybody crosses over, I think it will be Manon and Dorian, to be fair. Both extremely powerful. Dorian especially. I want to know more
Mm-hmm.
about him. I want to see him do more with his magic. Dorian is like Feyre times 10. Dorian is that fucking guy, bro. So I don't know. I definitely would be open to more with them. If she ever wants to write a story that's just the two of them, that will hands down be the best Throne of Glass book, in my opinion. No doubt about it. Definitely really excited about that. But speaking of Aelin, you know who else sucks? Aedion. The male Aelin is just as bad as the female Aelin. Okay, I can't.
Dude, I can't. I cannot stand this
I
guy.
can't.
I really don't like him. I'm not even kidding when I say I think the reason why I started to question if I liked Aelin was because I realized that she's just like Aiden, and I didn't like Aiden from the start. I don't like this guy.
Yeah,
And I'm like, oh my god, he's just like her. And I'm like,
it's bad.
oh, okay. And then he called Lysandra a bitch, and I'm like, yeah.
The whole Lysandra thing is just, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Lysandra is one of my favorite characters. She's up there.
I love
She's
her.
up there, okay? She's up there with the lead. She's up there with, nobody's up there with Manon, but she's up there, okay? With Irene, she's up there.
Mm-hmm.
But Aedion is not up there, okay? Like, I can name about 10 dudes in this book that I'm more than Aedion, okay? And I don't even think there's 10 dudes in this book, okay? I dislike Aedion way more than I dislike Chaol. I don't understand why Chaol gets all this hate and nobody talks about Aedion. Chaol is bland, okay? He's white bread with mayonnaise on it, okay? Like, he's bland AF. But Aedion is the devil, okay? Am I the asshole on Reddit? Like, when Aedion types in his little post and he's like, am I the asshole for getting mad because my girlfriend switched places with my cousin and didn't tell me? And then everybody votes, no, you're not the asshole, you're the fucking devil, okay? He is terrible. I hate him. I hate him. I, unlike Ellie, did not even hate him from the beginning. I didn't care about him. I was like, oh, he wants to be there for his cousin. He's supportive. I don't hate him, but whoa, by the end, him and Erewhon are basically on the same fucking level to me. I can't stand him. I don't understand.
I can't stand him either.
To be fair, I will say that while I think that this is an unpopular opinion because I've never heard anybody else really say it, I also haven't seen a lot of people like gushing over Aedion, to be fair to the fandom.
That's true.
So I just haven't heard anybody come out and say, does everybody know that this man fucking sucks? He's terrible. He's awful.
He's a super side character. He's a side character, but he's way the fuck to the side. I don't care about this dude at all.
He should be. I don't understand why he gets as much screen time as he does. And then when he does, he's just showing his ass. Do you hang out with Arabin in your free time? What's wrong with you, bro? You're a fucking douchebag. The way he treats Lysandra in the last two books is just, it's just unbelievable to me. Just leave her. Just break up with her because there is no reason for you to be treating her like this. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. It just really is. There's a couple dudes that have some red flags in this series that are a little bit more like red flaggy than I would like to see. Yeah, calling her a bitch. I don't think he doesn't push her in the snow, but she falls and he just like walks over her and doesn't do anything to help her get up. There's a bunch of shit where I'm just like, bro. Not to mention, at the end of the motherfucking day, Lysandra is the reason that y'all were able to win. Okay, Lysandra did so much to actually advance y'all's position in this war, and you didn't really do shit but cry about how she didn't make you her what is it? Her oath dude, whatever. She was supposed
It starts with a C, right? Dude, I don't fucking
Cara
remember.
Nardum, some shit
Like,
like that.
yeah.
Like, she like, over it, dude. She's fucking this guy. She like, whatever the fuck it was called, she's in love with this dude. She cares about him. She doesn't care about you like that. Not to be disrespectful. I'm sure she loves you, but just get over it, okay? Get over it. You weren't even there when she needed you to be there. That's why he got named that. It is what it is, dude. Let it go. So, yeah, not a big Adian fan over here. In fact, can't really stand him. Throw him out. The fact that him and Lysandra ended up together is just bonkers.
Dude, crazy to me. Crazy.
Bonkers.
Anyway.
Lysandra should have left his ass on the curb. You got options, girl. We all know how beautiful you're supposed to be. Not to mention, you could be anybody. Like, that, not that,
Mm,
whatever, but if you wanted to move somewhere else and become a completely different person, that's basically what she did because we find out that how she looks now isn't even how she, like, isn't even the face she was born with. So,
right.
like, you could be anybody. Go live your life without this scumbag. So, yeah. And playing off of that as well. Now, listen, I will say this. I think you're going to have a much stronger opinion about this than I do, to be fair. I almost should just let you say it. To me, though, without a doubt, Rowan is the worst main male character of the 3 series. Okay. We talked about it earlier. We touched on it. I don't care about Rowan. I am not in love with Rowan. I would never call Rowan my book boyfriend. I don't hate him. And that's why I said I feel like you might have stronger feelings about this than me. I don't hate him. He's just, to me, I don't think it's a question, but of the fact that to me, he's on the bottom of the big 3. Okay. I don't even think about him. Like, when I'm not literally looking at him or post about him, he never enters my thoughts ever.
Yeah. So I've always been a Rowan hater.
Yeah, she's a regular Kendrick
I
Lamar.
really
She
have.
really has.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. When I first met this guy, because I knew, okay, I will say going into Throne of Glass, I knew that there was some dude named Rowan and he's going to become the male main
Mhm.
interest just based on like fan arts. When I first met him in the book, I'm pretty sure I texted you and I'm just like, I don't know if I like this guy.
Mhm.
Also, I will say the thing that got me was that they're
I
related.
knew that. I was waiting for you to say that.
I literally was like, is this a, I was so uncomfortable. I was like,
Yeah, immediately you were
I don't
like,
know. I don't know if I could fuck with these people. So immediately I was just like, yeah, I'm not really gonna care that much about their romance because that gave me the biggest ick.
mhm,
But for me, Rowan is just like, and I'm so sorry if you like him, but he's just not my type. He is not my type. When I picture him, I don't like, even the fan art I've seen of him, I'm just like, I just don't really find him attractive. The way I picture him in my head,
yeah,
it's just like the face tattoos. I was like, okay, no, I'm not into face tattoos. And then like the white/blonde hair. So I just never really liked him. I know I was never a fan of him. And yeah, I'm
yeah.
sorry because I know he's so beloved. But I just
I feel like one big thing you didn't mention yet was the training thing.
oh yeah, when he punches Aelin, and that's another thing that kind of just added because I'm not even kidding. When we first meet him, we learn like immediately, oh, they're related. And then oh, he punched her. And I'm like, oh, he's blonde and has face tattoos. I
Mhm.
was like, yeah, I can't.
Okay, yeah, that's
There's too many icks for me. I can see why people would like him later on in the
mhm.
books because he is really sweet to her later on, but he's just not for me. He's just not for me.
Mhm. Yeah, he is, to be fair, he is really sweet to her later on, and he does become a really
Yeah,
good partner for her, and I will say the
right.
moment of when he gets to the beach and Maeve has taken her away and he's like, "Where is my wife?"
Mhm.
That moment will forever be iconic to me. Part of the reasons why Empire Storms is gonna win out in that battle. That will always be iconic for me. I am not taking away from that. Like I said, I don't hate him. I just think that he, to me, if you're putting him up against Hunt and Resand, for me, he's going to the
Mhm.
bottom. Now I will say as well, just to be fair, I don't care about the silver hair situation. I actually like it. One of my very first crushes ever was Legolas from Lord of the Rings. Obviously, not gonna hate on a silver-haired hottie. The face tattoo is, I have to see it. It'd have to be really well done for me to be a fan of it. And then also, low key, I cannot in good faith hate too much on the Rowan Aelin situation when I'm over here being a Daenerys Jon Snow stan. So I so like I have to take that with a grain of salt. I do also, yeah, that's another example. Damon from the House of the Dragon, also fan of his. Like, so I don't necessarily hate the silver-haired man thing, but yeah, I would be lying if I didn't say that I was not rooting for Daenerys and Jon Snow. So I cannot hate too much on the whole Rowan Aelin situation. Especially because supposedly it's supposed to be really, really distant. I don't know. It's fucking weird. It's weird that I root for it in Game of Thrones, but that's just the way that they set it up and the way that like it's just like acceptable. So
Dude, Game of Thrones first scene,
yeah.
first episode.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
oh, they're oh
Yeah. Well, I
yes.
mean, but let's be fair, I was not rooting for that sibling relationship. I was not rooting for
I wasn't
I was not
either.
rooting for that relationship, but I was rooting for Jon and Daenerys. Now, granted, when I first started rooting for them, we didn't know. But even still, once I found
Yeah.
out, I didn't stop rooting for them. And then also in House of the Dragon, Rhaenyra and Damon,
Oh
I root for
god.
them.
Oh
And that's
god. I
obviously very, yes. I can't be too much of a hypocrite on that. I gotta own up to my shit. But Game of Thrones is messy, y'all. Game of Thrones is that's what it's all about.
Game of Thrones is wild. It's supposed to be like fucked up
Yeah,
though.
exactly. So
I don't know, but
that's what it's
anyway.
all about. Anyways, it's almost here, season 2. I'm so excited. But and that being said, I think it's obvious at this point, like that we've said that Rowan is our least favorite and Aelin is not our favorite either. That it
Yeah.
would be safe to say that obviously, in my personal opinion, the reason that Throne of Glass is a great book and worth your time reading is because the side main characters are
Mhm.
way better than the main characters. If you're looking at it as Aelin and Rowan are the main characters, then literally everybody else is like so much better. Like even Maeve made every single page she was on worth my time.
Mhm.
Fenris Fenris and Aelin, look, I
Oh
don't
yeah,
like Aelin, but
Fenris.
Fenris and Aelin's friendship is, like, up
Aw,
there for me, okay? Is, like, one of,
I
like
forgot about
oh, I
him.
did not. I love Fenris. Fenris, like, love him. I like, when he lost his brother, even though his brother was such a piece of shit and just, like, the pain that he felt,
Mhm.
oh, like, I love Fenris. And the whole time he's with Aelin, oh, stop it, okay? That scene is fucking amazing. But yeah, Fenris, Dorian, Lorcan, Manon, Alid, Irene, Sartok, Nezrin, literally everybody in Lysandra, like everybody in this book is better than the 2 main characters in my personal opinion.
Yeah. With that being said, really quick, I am gonna say that Lorcan's my favorite male.
Yeah, and that
I love
that
him.
was the unpopular opinion that it's tough for me because Lorcan is one of my
Yeah, who's
favorite.
your favorite?
Dorian.
Dorian, okay.
Dorian.
Dorian's my second
And that's
favorite.
fair. We just have him switched
But
around. Lorcan does a
I
little
just
bit too much for me to be like, he can't be number 1. He did betray them all and give Aelin to Maeve.
whatever.
You hate hey, that's fair. Like that I get it. But
Oh
like
my
he even a
gosh.
lead was like
Dude, I think if we maybe had more of a I want to say if we had more of a continuation of Dorian and Manon,
mhm.
maybe Dorian would be my favorite, but I will say like Lorcan, just the way he looks. I was like, I like him because he's 7 foot tall, first of all. Okay. Like Dorian's like probably 6 foot. Okay. This man has a foot over him. Like he's already winning in my book.
Mhm. Yeah.
He has like longer hair. I was
Yeah.
like, that's all I need to know. He was like a sweetie Petey to a lead when she got her period. He ripped off. Anyway,
I'm
Anyway.
pretty sure Lorcan is like the great grandfather of Rhysand and Rune, to be fair. They're like fucking copies of each other. So like
Okay,
it makes
yeah.
sense that they
Rune's my
would be
type,
like
so
they would be all of the fucking same. They probably like when Lorcan shows up, they're like, holy shit, do we all three have the same faces? We all have purple eyes and long, beautiful black hair. And yeah, but I will say I do really like Lorcan. I'm not shitting on him because like he is literally one of my favorites. He's him and Fenris are probably tied for me. And
Mhm.
Dorian's at the top. Listen, Dorian was not my favorite. I think that the reason that Dorian is probably
Same.
my favorite is because when you want to talk about character development, you want to talk about growth, you want to talk about a journey. The Dorian that was before Sorsha and the Dorian that was after her, we're talking night and day. His relationship with Manon, like the way Dorian, like Dorian I did not. Rereading these books, I will skip past all of the Aelin and Rowan spicy scenes, but I will not skip past the Dorian and Manon spicy scenes. Okay. Dorian was spitting game to Manon. This terrifying chick. Everybody is fucking terrified of her. Dorian's just, what's up, mom? What's up? What's good? You want to feel these invisible hands on you? Like, oh, I love it. His swagger, top notch.
Yeah.
Dark hair, blue eyes. Mm, love Dorian. Love him. I will say, yeah, for me, Dorian up there. And it did not start off that way because he was a real fucking prick in the first in the beginning of the first book and all of that. And he definitely had a growth. But yeah, he's been through it when he got turned into the Vogue like slave and just like when he came out of
Mhm.
that. Not to mention Dorian is literally also a huge part of the reason why they won the war. That is one thing I love about Throne of Glass is just like how important every single person ended up being. It wasn't like one person
Yeah.
ended up being like the savior. Even though I did want to see Aelin go off after this whole buildup we had after 7 books, it was still like I really enjoyed how every single person played their part. Like they would have never gotten that last word key if it wasn't for Dorian. Also, let's just talk about Dorian is probably the most powerful person in Throne of Glass, to be fair. And that's even after he gives up like a lot of his powers for the word key to save Aelin's life. But that he saved Aelin's life. He just did so much. I don't know. I love Dorian. I get why the Dorian girlies are Dorian girlies. And but at one point I would have said Lorcan too, just because I like his demeanor and I just love the grumpy sunshine.
Yeah.
Eve and him were like,
Me too, it's my favorite.
oh, I definitely get it. I definitely get it. But okay. And with that, let's just talk about the listener write-ins. We did have a couple listener write-ins on Throne of Glass. So one really just a couple of them. One of them is something that is, I would definitely say unpopular because I don't think that either of us agrees with it. The first one was just somebody saying that they also felt like Throne of Glass was their least favorite series, which fair. Obviously, we threw that out here as well. I have mixed feelings about it with the last Crescent City book. Right now, they're tied with for me. If not, Crescent City is just a little bit under Throne of Glass. I'm gonna wait for my reread because I have reread Crescent City. I haven't reread Throne of Glass, so I feel like it's always with a little bit of different eyes when I'm going through a book series the second time. But the other opinion, and this is actually an unpopular opinion, so I'm very interested to dissect this one, but is that Elide is one of the most annoying characters slash arcs in Throne of Glass. I don't know if I agree with that. I really love Elide.
I don't agree with it, but I don't agree with it because I really like Alid. I think her growth in the book was really good, but I could see maybe why people or someone could find her
Mhm.
annoying, but I don't know. I really liked her story. Her going from this very timid, quiet girl who's really locked in this fucking tower,
Mhm.
can't even walk.
Yeah.
And then she meets Manon, who changes her fucking life, which, like, their friendship,
Yeah.
chef's kiss. When she got a chance to kill her uncle and she did it, I was like,
Period. Go off, sis. Yeah.
period. And then she really was so brave during that. And then also, not to mention, when she fucking saved Lorcan's ass,
Mhm.
she was like, I'm gonna go get my man. And she ran on fucking horseback, middle of battle. The
Yeah.
fucking water is about to come in and kill everyone. And she was like, no, I gotta go save him. That was iconic. I
Yeah.
loved it. I loved it.
Yeah. I love Elite. She's just like a little baby, like a little baby character, especially she's like a
Yeah.
little sidekick. But what
Yeah.
I will say what I will say is that in a book of very many characters and very
Mhm.
plot points and very many like different stories going on, different perspectives, different stuff. While I did enjoy Elite's storyline and I did enjoy every time I was reading about her, and I just think she is so sweet and just so, if you told me, like, again, like somebody was like, you have to get rid of one storyline, I gotta admit that hers is one that could go and it wouldn't really affect the story that much.
I'm trying to think of whose I would choose.
The only reason
I don't
that she's
know.
so important, it's not even about, like, what I like to read about, it's what's important to the story. The only reason that she's
Mhm.
so important is because it gives us a character who's in Erewhon's camp. So we're getting information on what's going on in his camp because that's like what she provides for the story is basically because she's at his like little encampment area, she's able to give us like a lot of the information on what is going on in that part of the world necessarily, which is something that we need. Like, she meets Caltane. She is the reason that they get the information that the other word keys there, that all this stuff. So she does play an important part, but I do feel like that could have been written in a different way. As far as if I had to get rid of a character or a storyline, I think it has to be her for me. And that's so sad because I really love her. But yeah, so I guess like I could see it from that perspective of if you're reading and there's already so much going on and you switch to a lead and you just feel like, is this even that important? Maybe I could understand that. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. It's definitely unpopular because I feel like a lot of people really love a lead. Her being annoying? I don't know,
I think
she's not
Aylin's way
annoying
more
to me. Yeah,
annoying.
me too. I think Aylin's so much more annoying than Elite. Elite is just sweet. She is doe-eyed. I have no idea what's going on. I need a lot of help. Whereas Aylin is almost braggadocious. I'm the shit. I don't need
Yeah.
any help. They're like almost opposites in that. Yeah, to me, if you want to talk about annoying, it's got to be Aylin. But yeah.
Yeah, I like to lead. 'Cause, like, I can relate to a lead being, like, timid and stuff, but then, like, again, like, she has this, like, amazing point where she's, "No, I'm gonna take control of what happened to me, and I'm gonna kill my fucking uncle."
Yeah.
I was like, "Let's go."
I think another thing with a lead is that I don't get the whole she's a witch, but we never ever get to see anything with that.
Yeah.
I
That was
just
really
don't
annoying.
understand that.
I don't get why Sarah J Maas did that. I really hope that someday we learn something because I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's gonna be with Manon. Oh my god, her powers are gonna, like, manifest, and she's become this amazing witch," and it doesn't happen.
Yeah. No, yeah, to me, I could understand that being annoying because it's like a setup that just never gets resolved. It's okay.
Yeah, I hated
Well,
that.
why was this even in here? She could have just been Aylin's mom's best friend's daughter. She didn't have to be a witch, and all of this didn't have to be in there because it really didn't amount to anything in the end. Yeah, not even I guess. I was frustrated by that. So, could definitely understand that. Yeah, still very curious as to why that was in there. There's so many things where I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, I hope we like learn about this, but then at the same time, it's like that's retcon what like the series is supposed to be over. So if I'm just judging the series based on like where it is and not with the idea that it could be opened up and reevaluated, that was an oversight. Why was that even like in there in the first place when it really didn't amount to pretty much anything? It was way more important that Elid's mom is the one who saved Aelin than it was that she was a witch or whatever.
That's just gonna bother me. That's annoying. I don't think it leads annoying, but I think that part is
Yeah,
annoying.
it's just
But that's on the author.
yeah, exactly. It says her arc too, so I take that as like it
Yeah,
could just that could be part of it. That could be a big part of it. I don't
maybe.
actually know. I'm not the person who wrote that in, but I can see that. So thank you
Mhm.
for writing that in. That was a good one to talk about and actually probably like maybe of all the opinions we talked about today, that might be the one I don't think I've ever seen anybody say. So that was I liked that. I like talking about that. But all right, guys, that's pretty much it for Throne of Glass. Yeah, not a whole lot left to say. I did love it. I don't want to sit here and just act like it was completely not good. I enjoyed it. Obviously, I told you I read it so fast, but I'm going to go ahead and move on to ACOTAR. I wanted to end with ACOTAR because I think for both of us, this is our favorite series without just, it's the one that started it all, the first one that I read. Um, It, like we said, starting off, it'll always have a special place in our heart. Obviously, this is what inspired us to start our podcast. But that being said, there's still plenty of opinions for us to have on it. So we're going to go ahead and get into that now. This might be the one where we have the most disagreements amongst the two of us, too. So that'll be really interesting.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I've said on the podcast before, but if you've never listened to that episode, I think it was in our House of Flame and Shadow review.
Okay. Yeah. It might have been.
We were talking about this character, okay? And I said, I think right now they might be my bottom characters. And that is Raisan. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't like Raisan. I don't like him. He is not for me either.
Yeah.
That's why Hunt's like such an easy choice for me. Because Rowan and Raisan are like,
Hmm.
for me, yeah, I just don't like him. He's just, I don't know. He gives me a lot of icks. And he's also, I think for me, he's just so fucking cocky too and overly confident. And I just don't like that in men. I just don't like that. I'm just like, this man needs to be humble. He's just not my type. He's not my type in that aspect. His looks are my
Hmm.
type, but I did like him at first when I first read these books. And then throughout the books, when his character kind of changes some, I was, oh, and then like rereading them, I was, oh, how did I not see these red flags? So I was like, yeah, he's not my favorite dude.
Right.
I'm so sorry. I know that's I guess it's so popular, but I think it's becoming more popular.
Yeah.
I still do think there has to be something going on with him because, like, his character changed. Unless it's because we're seeing him from other POVs, that's the only other explanation. But, like, his character just definitely changed after Frost and Starlight,
Hmm.
pretty much, when we got other people's POVs
Right.
for the rest of the book. So I wonder if it's just that or if there is something going on because I know we theorize that he is probably keeping secrets, and I don't know what that secret is.
Right.
But I've been kind of like, oh, about him. So
Mhm. Right. So I'm going to come out and defend my boy Reese a little bit. I have to. I do think he's cocky. That doesn't really bother me. I'd be lying if I said it did like that about him. Not because he's cocky like when he boasts and talks about him, but I don't ever take it as a seriousness. Like I don't ever think he's, oh, I'm the shit. Like, and I mean that. So like for me, it's just part of his swagger. So that's why it doesn't really bother me. I don't know. It's part of like I do the same thing. So like I'd be like, I know I'm hot. Nobody's gonna fucking tell me differently. But I'm saying it like jokingly mostly. Like obviously, I don't know. I don't take myself that seriously. And I get that a little bit from Reese as well. Now, I will say that the one big thing for me that really rubbed me the wrong way and I felt like he was wrong about was keeping the pregnancy turnout or whatever from Feyre. But I also have to take that with a grain of salt because I do have to say, I'm not with Nesta on the way that she handled that situation either. I will say that I feel like a lot of people that really don't like Rhysand anymore are people that really love Nesta, and I think that's really interesting to me
yeah.
because I feel like that is where the 2 camps are. It's if you like Nesta, you don't like Rhys. If you like Rhys, you don't like Nesta, and it makes sense based on how they are towards each other in the
Hmm.
books. I don't think that what Nesta did by telling Feyre was right either because she didn't do it, like, to be like, "Oh, I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart." She did it to hurt Rhys and to hurt Feyre. And I don't think that Reese should have kept that from Feyre, but I also can understand why he did and why in a situation like that, why somebody would struggle so much with what the right course of action to take would be. You know that your life is tied to this person. Stress during a pregnancy is something that could really hurt the baby more than almost anything else. I still think he should have told her, but I understand why he was struggling with that so much. And I understand why he was trying to exhaust all of his options before he did tell her. And so I feel like the fact that was taken away from him, we'll never really get to know if he was going to tell her or not. And so that is a part of my thought process when I come to that. Now, I do agree in bodily autonomy. She should have been told. If Reese wasn't going to tell her, the doctor should have told her. And that is in a tough situation because obviously Reese is like the man in charge. So if he tells the doctor not to tell her, she's not going to tell her. But like I said, like I can understand, I can put myself in Reese Ann's shoes and understand why he made the decision that he did. So yeah, I don't know. The other big thing that really is like a little bit of a like, towards Rhysand is like him telling Az that he basically can't go after Elaine because she's Lucian's mate. Again, I can just put myself in the shoes of being a leader, being somebody who's really in charge, who has like more than just themselves to think about, who has to think about the way that the world works, the way that power dynamics work. And he maybe has to make decisions that he wishes he didn't for the good of his kingdom and for the good of what was going on. That is one that's a little bit harder for me to understand because I don't really understand why you getting involved with the whole Lucian Elaine as triangle really has to do with anything unless it's because you don't think his intentions are really that sincere. And so you're like, I don't want to see you go in and cause all this trouble when I don't even really think you're that like into this girl. But other than that, like I can't really understand it. But I just feel like he has really important decisions to make. And Reese has definitely got the most pressure of the most people that he has to take care of for everybody in pretty much all of the books, really. The only person I can think of that comes close is Aelin. So, yeah, I love Reese. I'm gonna stand by him until he does something really heinous.
That's okay.
I'm not gonna throw him out with the bathwater, and I don't feel like that moment has come yet, so holding out hope. I even understand how he was acting in House of Flame and Shadow, to be fair. I wish that he made a different decision because, like I said, I wish that they had just all joined up and gone over there and fought the big bad together. I understand why he didn't. And that's a lot of pressure on one person. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like him. But we have different opinions, which is okay,
Yeah.
everyone.
Exactly. So, since we were already talking about Reese and his behavior in Silver Flames, I just want to go ahead and say that I know that A Court of Silver Flames is your favorite book, and I know that it is beloved amongst the fandom, especially by people that really love Nesta. But personally, I don't really think it's the best book, to be 100% honest. I think it's really emotional, and I think that it has its like meat that's really good about it, but as far as like overall book, I don't know. A lot of it is just oh, it doesn't need to be as long as it is for what is actually going on in the story. It doesn't have a lot to really move the plot forward. I also think a big knock to it is because we know that Feyre and Rhysand have this death pact because we know that there's absolutely no way that either of them is going to die. It takes away a lot of the like suspense of what the big moment was supposed to be building towards. It's why I have such an issue with the fact that a lot of these people just have been killed and then not killed or brought back. It just takes away from it. Like it just takes away from what you're actually reading when you're just like, okay, there's a scare, but we know these people aren't gonna die. So what are we even really reading about? It's I don't know. And I also personally don't really feel like Nesta giving up her powers was that big of a sacrifice, especially when she didn't want anything more than to not have powers in the first place. And I don't know. I feel like it's a good book. I feel like the part of the book that makes it good is her just becoming a better person, even though I do still think she has a long way to go. And then her story with the Valkyries. But when you really come down to it, like in a whole book of how many pages is that book? 1,000? It's a small part of the book for it to be like all that it is. So yeah. So how I feel about it. I know a lot of people really love it. So
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite book of all time. I love this book so much, but I like it because it is so emotional and I didn't really know what to expect going into it when I first read it. I was so excited about it because I was like, oh, it's me about Nesta. Like, I'm going to fucking love this.
yeah.
And I was so excited too because I knew it was going to be about Cassian, which
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
read about Cassian. I love Cassian. But anyway, and I also was excited to get someone else who is the main character,
Right.
except for different from Feyre and Rhysand. But I liked it because it was so emotional. And when I was reading it, I was just like, damn, dude. I'm like, I can relate so fucking hard to this book. Like I literally highlighted shit and I showed it to my therapist. I was like, bitch, this shit is amazing. I loved it. I literally like Nesta's journey and then her romance with Cassian and then her friendships that she made with Emery and Gwen was so precious to me. And like the way that Emery and Gwen and Nesta all literally trauma healed together was so beautiful. That was like, damn, this book is so deep. I have seen people online be like, they didn't really like it because there wasn't really a big villain per se, because it just didn't really need it. It wasn't, which I don't have an issue with. I don't always need a book to have a big villain. Even obviously the queens were the villains in it, but whatever, they're boring. But it was more just about just like trauma healing was like the whole part of it. And I was just like, damn, I never read a book that made me be like, wow, this is so goddamn good. If anyone has any recommendations for books like this, please let me know because wow, I really like books like that.
Yeah.
Like, the whole time I loved it. I loved it so much. I will say I don't like pregnancy tropes. I didn't give a flying fuck about the pregnancy trope. I was like, really? I'm like, literally Farrah was just saying that like, she wants to travel and be with Breesan and all of a sudden she's let's have a baby. And I'm like, what?
Girl.
I'm like, no, let's not do that. I really hate a pregnancy trope.
Yeah.
Like what the actual fuck? And then also I was really confused because I remember I texted you too about this because another reason I have an issue with House of Flame and Shadow was because I was like, wait, I thought Nesta gave up her powers. She had powers, like a lot of power in House of Flame and Shadow. And then you were like, I think she gave away a certain amount. And I'm like, but why is she still so powerful then? That was weird to me.
Yeah.
That made no
Yeah,
sense.
a lot about House of Flame and Shadow didn't make sense, but okay, here's the thing. I have read books that are that emotional before. I think that the thing is that this is supposed to be a romantasy book, and I feel like when it really comes down to it, the fantasy elements were not that, like it wasn't anything special, especially because almost all of the fantasy elements that we did get were already introduced in the books before, so it wasn't anything new. And then also, I know you're gonna disagree with me on this because I know they're like your favorite couple, but I don't know why. Something about the Nesta Cassian romance, I'm not 100 sure one or I'm not 100% sure like I'm all the way invested in it. Something about it's off to me. And I know that's like, I don't, maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I don't know why. I'm not sure that they're in game. And that's just based off of me rereading it, me reading other books, me like really thinking about it. I don't know. There's something, I don't know if it's just because Nesta's not that into him. I don't know. I'm not saying that they aren't. I'm not saying that she's going to end up with, I've seen some crazy theories. I'm not saying anything like that, but I really could see Cassian picking Reese over Nesta and Nesta going off and doing her own thing. I don't know why, but to me, they're not the most like solid couple. And maybe that could have something to do with it as well. So just really interesting.
No, yeah. No, they're my favorite couple. I do think they're in game because they did have the mate thing happen when they were like doing their deed and stuff. But I think Cassian's definitely going to have to figure out, or there's a lot of things that could happen with that whole issue of Cassian being super loyal to Rhysand, and now he's kind of like, oh, what do I do now? Because obviously they don't get along. I didn't, obviously, in the bonus chapters of Ember and Randall, like when Ember was like standing up for Nesta, like Cassian didn't, which is definitely gonna have a struggle in the next book. And I'm wondering like how that's gonna be resolved. Oh my god, I saw this hilarious comment. Side note, really quick, I have to mention this. It made me fucking die. This would never happen, but it made me cackle. I was looking up unpopular opinions, and someone was like, Rhysand and Nesta would make such a good enemies to lovers. because they're so enemies.
Mm-mm.
That would never happen, but it's fucking hilarious.
That
But
would
anyway,
literally I can't. Can we all stop putting the Archeron sisters with their lovers, like, exit?
yeah,
Can we stop that? It's giving me the ick. I'm over here, no, for some reason, the Targaryens are cool, but, like, that, I'm like, "Can we stop doing that?" Because, like,
yeah,
but no, it's also just the way that Nesta acts towards Cassian. I don't know. It's just we'll see. We will see. I'm not saying that I wouldn't be like, "Oh, if they're in game," I wouldn't be like, "Oh, like, I that doesn't make any sense. I hate that." But it's just, like, something about them is just not it's just not what I've seen from other mated couples in these books and, like, the way that they act once they get together. I'm just like, "This is I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We will see." But yeah, overall, I liked it. I've read it twice now. Like, it served for a huge Easter egg situation for, House of
mhm,
Flame and Shadow, which a lot of it didn't even really end up mattering, but that was, like, a majority of it, and like I said, I think that there's something to that whole, like, it's to me, the romance didn't 100% hit. Now, that's not to say it's not spicy because it's the spiciest of the books. But I've read plenty of books about people that are like that are spicy that are not like romantically in for each other. So that to me, I don't know. That can be those two things don't necessarily mean the same thing because it's spicy and it's hot. But yeah, as far as like their actual romance, their relationship, I don't know. And then, yeah, the fantasy element, it's there, but it's not the most important thing about the book. Like you said, like I've said at this point now, I feel like the emotional tie-in and the trauma, like about healing from trauma and growth as a person and coming to terms with the things that have happened to you in your life is really what this book's all about. And so it's just different. It's just a different type of romantasy
definitely a
book.
different vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, and then just because I feel like this kind of ties in the whole Eris situation, I feel like it ties in because okay, here's my next unpopular opinion. I actually really like Eris, okay? And I'm here for an Eris redemption arc. And I'm not gonna lie, I was feeling the sparks between Nesta and Eris in Silver
Mhm.
Flames, okay? I felt it a little bit. And so that's another reason where I'm like, there's something there. I'm sorry. When they were hanging out and they went, like, when she was there and he was showing her the mountains and when she caught Tamlin and cussed his ass out. And then when they were dancing together on that dance floor, I was like, okay, all right. I'm here for an Eris redemption arc. Let me see it. I like Eris.
I really want to see an redemption arc. I think we're definitely going to get
Yeah.
it because we're left with a lot of questions after Silver Flames with him.
Mhm.
Like when he was like, "Oh, Moore didn't tell y'all the truth about what happened that day." I'm like, "What do you mean?
Yeah. We're gonna find out it's not even a redemption arc.
What do you mean?"
We're gonna find out that he didn't need to be redeemed, that he was being lied on the whole time.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely want to see more about him. I don't dislike him. Obviously, I didn't like him in ACOMAF, but then realizing, oh, there's something else going on,
Mhm.
I'm like, okay.
Now
And also just knowing that he did go against his dad. He actually was he was like a traitor to his dad.
mhm.
I was like, okay, period.
Yeah, seriously. One thing I was gonna say is I know Lucian has a ton of brothers. Did Eris participate in the Lucian situation with his ex? Do we
I
know
think he
about
might
that?
have.
And did he, like, beat Lucian? Because if he did, that needs redemption. Yeah, you gotta that's bad.
He might have. I don't know if he named his brothers.
Mhm, that were
He
involved.
said my brothers, and then one of them
Right,
died.
he was able to
So
kill
I'm
one of them.
assuming Eris was in there.
Interesting. Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. But yeah, the way that they painted him in Silver Flames definitely made me be like, I want to know more about this guy. Like I could be into Eris. I could like him. Obviously, I already love Lucian, so
Yeah, I love
I could be turned to Eris's side, especially if we find out that everything that we think is true isn't true. So yeah.
period. Okay, so with the character talk, I will say I don't know if this is really unpopular since ACOTAR seems to be the most popular series of her books. To me, at least,
Mhm.
it seems like it is from what I've seen online. I think ACOTAR is probably the most popular one. I think ACOTAR has the best depth of characters, like versus Throne of Glass and Crescent City.
Trying to
The
think.
characters are so good.
Trying to think. That's such a hard statement for me because there's a lot of characters amongst all these books.
So many
There's
characters is
so many
overwhelming.
characters.
ACOTAR has my actually never mind. I'm salty about some characters in ACOTAR. I was gonna say ACOTAR has my most amount of favorite characters
Mhm.
in one series, but I'm actually I don't know
I think Throne
now.
of Glass.
I have to think about
I
that.
think Throne of Glass might
Throne of Glass actually
literally have
might,
the most amount of characters that I actually really
which is
love because
weird.
it's not my favorite series, but
Love.
I how many did I name?
Because I could think dude, I know, I'm about to see Ali, Dorian, Lorcan, Manon,
Fenris,
Sandra,
Cassandra, you said Irene,
Nezrin.
Nezrin, I even like Sartok.
I kinda fucked with Caltaine,
I
low
liked
key. I
Galtane in the
love
end.
that
So she was a
shit.
fucking bitch in the beginning, but she came round, bro.
I feel so bad for her.
Yeah.
Maeve kind of was so cunt that I have to say
I
Maeve.
like Maeve, okay? She is terrible, but, like, in the best kind of way. She's who Amarantha wishes she could
Is
be.
she? She's basically the only female
Well,
villain.
Amarantha.
Amarantha, but, like, she was in one book, like, Maeve is, like, Queen
Yeah.
Beryl.
No, she is. She literally split up from her brothers, made her own world, took up Fae form. This bitch was
She's a
playing the
Sailor Moon
long
villain.
game. This bitch was playing the long game. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
I me
because,
personally
like, in ACOTAR,
okay, let's be real here. There's a lot of people
mm,
I really like in ACOTAR, but I feel like there's not as many for you.
I like a lot of people. I can think of I don't wanna name everyone, but, like, obviously Cassie, Nessa, Emery, Quinn,
Mhm.
Asriel, Lucian, what are other characters?
Amryn, Moore, Rhysand, Feyre, Elaine.
I like Amren.
But do you love Amryn?
I don't love
Because I don't love
Amren.
Amryn either. She's just
I don't love Amren, I don't love Moore.
I really like Moore, so she's up there for me, but
I have
I haven't gotten that ick
I
that
like
everybody else has
Feyre, but I
gotten.
don't love
Yeah,
her.
I like Feyre too, but she's definitely not.
I'm like, I feel like I'm missing
I have to give
characters.
Feyre her credit for when she was, like before I knew anybody else. I did love Feyre. But yeah,
Yeah.
um,
After comparing her to other characters, I'm like, yeah,
it's the comparison.
I like her a lot, but she's not groundbreaking. She's not fucking Manon, like
God, that bitch lives in my head rent free. I fucking love her. I've never loved a bitch as much as I love Manon, dude. I fucking love her. She is such a fucking cunt. She is so
I love
amazing. I love her. I love her.
dude, yeah, I think I have more favorite characters in fucking Throne of Glass because I also love Astrid. There's so many
Well, if you count the
characters.
13, gotta count, yeah.
I like
Yeah,
all
I
of
love all
them.
of the 13. I don't like obvious I can't love all of them because they don't get enough we don't get to find out enough about them, but,
Right.
like, yeah. I don't know. I really like Nala and Caradwin, but, like, these are people I really like, but they're not, like they don't get enough
Yeah.
screen time to be like,
I wouldn't buy a shirt with them on
yeah,
it.
I might, but only because I'd be like, "If you know, you know." I like shit like that, but yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
I'm
think
not rocking them like they're my favorite fucking person, and I think
yeah,
that
I guess
I'm
I
influenced because Throne of Glass has my favorite character in all of the series, and so I think that's what makes it tough for me.
right, that's, like, the opposite for me because obviously I like more Throne of Glass characters, but ACOTAR is my favorite character. But I have less favorite characters than ACOTAR.
ACOTAR is the best. I I've
It's the
seen
best
people say this a
series.
lot, okay? ACOTAR is literally it's you got Throne of Glass is fantasy, okay? Not high fantasy because I feel like people that write high fantasy will be offended by that, but it's like straight fantasy almost.
Yeah. Like, it's not Lord of
It's
the
not Lord of the
Rings.
Rings, but it's really trying to be. And then like
Right.
it's really trying to be.
It's like bootleg Lord of the Rings.
Is straight up like the perfect blend of romance and fantasy. It's like this is a book about romance
Mhm.
and couples and love and friendships, emotion, but it's in a fantasy setting with bigger things going on in the background that matter that are fantasy elements. And then Crescent City is this fantasy but sci-fi with a hint of romance that is there for your enjoyment, but it's not really driving the plot forward. Whereas in ACOTAR,
Yeah.
it's the romance is what's driving the plot forward. So I don't know, it's just different. But yeah, ACOTAR is my favorite series of all of them. I'm not going to sit here and pretend otherwise. Crescent City, though, I will say Bryce would be my number one favorite character in all the books, but she really had to go fuck her over in the last book. Just really, really put a damper on my Bryce love. I still fucking love her. I'm not gonna let it take
Yeah.
away from how much
I
love.
still like Bryce too.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let it ruin her for me, but I have to admit she really fucking tried. She really tried to ruin Bryce for me. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like that's one of those things where I don't even know if that's an unpopular opinion. I just feel like that's a really good discussion.
Yeah. And
So, I guess, like, talking about, like, just depths of characters and stuff, we did talk about it a little bit, but yeah, when I first read Guitar the first time, I will say, and I think I said this before, but just this was the first series I ever read that was anything like this. Don't get me wrong, when I was younger, in the early or in the mid 2000s, like when I was really into reading before I took a long break, I was reading books like City of Bones, the Vampire Academy series, Twilight, things like this. So I definitely would say I had some experience in it, but this was like my first like adult version of those kinds of books that I would say. And when I tell you ACOTAR just changed my life, it made me a reader again. I literally
mhm.
like we bonded over that. I mean, we were already best friends, but like we bonded over this like just in such a way. Obviously, you started this podcast. Like it literally just changed the way that I thought about books. It opened me up to this new genre that was like a mix of like my favorite fucking things in the world. I'm a huge fantasy, huge magic, like hero based stories, like the fact that these are all women led cast and just it just changed the way that I like had known books could be. And so when I first read this, I would say I loved Pharaoh. I was just like, oh my gosh, she's the shit. Like I love her whatever. And the more I started reading more romantic fantasy and getting more characters and even other characters in this author's own repertoire, I just started to realize, cool, she's all right. I don't dislike Farah. She's not my favorite girl in ACOTAR. She's just, she's cool. She's all right. Trying to even think of who my favorite girl in ACOTAR is. I couldn't tell you right now.
Girl, I was gonna ask. I was like, "Who's your favorite?" Because you don't like, because I don't think you have a diehard
Mm-mm,
female in
really
ACOTAR.
don't. Let me think about it. Let
Yeah.
me cook. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like Nesta has the potential to be up there. She's I need to see where her story's
Dude, I
going.
never thought I'd hear you I
I
never thought I'd hear
know.
you say
She
that.
well, she just has the potential to be the most interesting. If she's
Yeah.
not for me yet, but even right
Uh-huh.
now, she is the most interesting. She's at least,
Yeah.
she's not just my personality is based on this man that I'm with and all of that. So I will say that. And then Elaine, bless her heart, is just, I don't even know yet. And then Amryn,
Yeah.
I like Amryn, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend like she's the reason that I'm reading these books or anything like that. And I do like more, but more still got like iffy for me. Yeah, I want a book on Miriam and Draken. Miriam has the potential to be one of my favorite people. Okay. I'm not even being funny. I'm trying to think ACOTAR. Who's my favorite female character? I don't know. I don't really have one. I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't really have one. If I had to pick, Feyre is probably my favorite, but she's meh. I like her
Yeah.
more than Aelin because she doesn't get on my nerves, but she's not
Yeah.
nearly as much I don't like her nearly as much as I like Bryce. Yeah, or Manon. Clearly, I'm obsessed with Manon. We know that. So yeah, but yeah. There's that.
Really quick to switch over to like books of ACOTAR. I think I'm pretty this I would say this is unpopular, but I preferred Aqua War versus ACOMAF.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that's an unpopular.
I've had this opinion since the beginning. Like I fucking loved Aqua War.
Mhm,
I loved
mhm.
it. I really liked ACOMAF too, but Aqua War was just like, oh my god! It also is like the conclusion of the whole war
Yeah.
happening. I fucking loved it. I thought it was so good. I loved it.
Mhm.
Or
Yeah. I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm not gonna debate it because, like, I do think that there's validity to that. I think they're different. I feel like ACOMAF is straight
yeah, they're
up
different.
a love story with a
Mhm.
hint of a bigger thing going on, whereas ACOWAR is more of a politically, like, the fantasy element of this
Yeah,
thing's finally coming to a culmination. We're already in love. We're moving on. So I feel like it's just different. It's just different. And they're both really good. Like, they're both excellent. I think
yeah,
Math is my favorite of all of the ACOTAR books. I would not argue with you that ACOWAR is not like ACOWAR's if Math is here, ACOWAR is right there. So I just yeah, like they're just different.
they're different.
Yeah, especially because the way that ACOWAR starts, it's just
It's
so
so
good. It's so
intense.
good. Favorite going to the spring court and just watching shit
God.
You know what? Am I coming back around to Feyre? I always forget that she did that shit. I I really love the way that she went back and fucked with Tamlin. That was good. That was good. Yeah, 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 yeah. But for the most part, when Feyre and Rhys are actually together, she begins to blend into the background, and I think that's why I say she's meh. But anyways, okay, cool. I would agree. Like I said, I'm not gonna argue with that with you too much over that because I 100% can see why people would say that. I think that math being the favorite is, like, definitely the most popular opinion that I've seen, but I feel like that's totally valid. And talking about ACOWAR, I think my number one issue with ACOWAR is the fact that nobody actually died. My unpopular opinion is that one of those motherfuckers should have actually died at the end of that book, okay? Whether it was gonna be Amryn or Rhysand, obviously, I don't want anything to happen to Rhysand because I love him, but I cannot with the double, "Oh, they're dead. Oh, they're not dead 2 seconds later." How many times are we gonna do this? It happened with Feyre in the first book. It happened twice in ACOWAR. It almost happened in Silver Flames. It definitely happened in House of Flame and Shadow twice. I'm like, "Dude, really?" At least I think that's part of the reason why Kingdom of Ash is so emotionally damaging is because even though it wasn't main characters, the deaths in there at least were like actual deaths and loss that you had to deal with and process and go through. And I feel like death can really add to a storyline, even when it's not what we want. And it's just teasing it is really taking away the validity of it because it's like when I tell you it's the way I wanted to be so upset when I thought Bryce died, but I just couldn't because I just fucking knew that she wasn't actually going to stay dead. I don't know how else to it's just it literally took something from me as, like, a person who loves to get emotional over shit like that, and I was just like, "I want to be so scared that something's gonna happen to her, and I want to feel that emotion that I'm supposed to be feeling, but I can't because there's no stakes, and I know that she's not gonna kill her." And that's just same thing with Lydia, really. I'm like, "Oh, she fell into
Yeah.
the ocean, oh god. I woke up in the hospital." It's like, "What the fuck are we?"
Really hope
Dude.
that she, because this is like a lot of people talk online about how it's so annoying that she doesn't actually kill off characters.
Yeah.
I really hope she takes this into account because, and she's probably gonna take it into account and like literally give us like a terrible death. And I'm here for it. Like, I need a terrible death.
It sucks that even if it really does happen, I feel like this is gonna be me. I'm gonna be reading it, and I'm gonna be like, "Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, wow, that person died. That's crazy," and I'm gonna be reading it, and then, like, 10 pages later when they're still dead, I'm gonna be like, "Hold on." I'll be like,
Yeah.
"Wait." I'll be like, "Did they really die?" And then I'll have to go back and be like, "Hold on," because it's just like you've already done the whole, like, fake out so many times that like, when I go into it, I'm not going to believe it if it does happen. And then I'm gonna be like, I don't know. I wish she hadn't done it. I really wish she hadn't done it twice again in House of Flame and Shadow. I really wish that was not how that happened. But alas, it is. And so, yeah, my unpopular opinion is that someone needed to die and stay dead in A Court of Wings and Ruin. So, whoops.
Period. It should have been. It's really. Amryn should have stayed
She
dead. She really should
I
have.
mean, I get it. You can't really kill Reese. And I still have
Yeah.
questions. I still have questions about the whole Reese thing because I've talked about it before. I know I've talked about it before, but just I don't understand how he could get saved the same exact way that Feyre got saved, and he doesn't have any of these extra special powers that Feyre has. I feel like we're gonna find out that. But with that being said, I understand why you can't kill Reese. But Amryn, as much as I like her, she should have just stayed dead. She's basically the only thing that she's really important for is like giving them information about shit that happened before they were around.
Yeah. She doesn't even have any powers right now.
You have a whole library full of just history and books and you like as much as I really like her, it would have been okay if she had died and at least that would have been emotionally like, oh shit, like we thought Reese died, he got brought back. Oh shit, it's gonna be Amryn, and she actually died, that would have
Yeah.
fucking hit. especially if she like went out the way that she did and took all those, like basically won the war for them when she did it. But what happened? I wish it was. I don't know how I feel about it going forward, but I do feel like it's unfortunate. There is just a certain level of I'm not really worried about what's going to happen in these books.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that. Anyway, hopefully she fixes it because I'm like, the 13th death was so fucking awful, but I loved every second of it because I was like, wow, that was so fucking sad.
Yeah, I will never see a picture of Abraxas and Manon with the fucking quote, "Live, Manon, live," and not tear up. I will
Yeah,
literally
it
this
was
shit
so
will live with
good.
me for the rest of my life. It like it just it yeah, if I was an actress and they were like cry on cue, I would just start thinking about Astrid's last speech to Manon before or Manon before
Yeah.
they like before she like ran into the light. I would just be like, "Oh god, I can cry on command because all I have to do is think about this shit." Or now I can add a Dina to that list too, but yeah. That being said, we're almost to the end here, guys. Just a couple more unpopular opinions. I think my last one is that I actually don't hate Frost and Starlight. I actually think it's cute. It's a cute little ending to Reese's and Feyre's story. The only thing about it that I didn't was the whole like pregnancy thing because it's like them deciding to have
Mhm.
a kid right after they gave that whole speech in ACOMAF about how she wanted to wait and all of that definitely didn't sit well with me. But every other part of it I really liked. And it did set up Cassian and Nesta, whether that if you were a Cassian and Nesta lover, that was a huge part of him giving her the gift on the equinox and all of that. Like that did matter in Silver Flames. I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was cute. Like they were just getting to run an art studio, living her life. Like the war is over. Oh, I guess there's two things I don't really like about it. I'm not a big fan of the whole like flying fuck fest that was going on. That was a little bit that was a little bit like, okay, are we bored? Are we done here? But yeah, other than that, I don't know. It was cool.
Yeah. My last unpopular opinion is that the first time I read the first book, I really liked the first book. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I know a lot of people are like, oh, the first book is so bad, which now I wouldn't say it was bad. Like, I would just say that it's not the most exciting book of the series. It's not because I've read all the other ones, and all the other ones are fantastic. But like when I first read the first book, I was so sucked in. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. I yeah, I would be lying if I said otherwise. I do think that going back, I'm like, okay, this one isn't as good as the other ones, but then at the same time, it's the first book in a series. I'd never really judge like off
Yeah,
of that. It's got to set
that's
it up.
fair.
But also, I think the fact that I hate the main male character definitely affects my opinion of it now too. And I have to take with a grain of salt that like I did not feel that way the first time I read it. But also, I'd be lying if I didn't agree with you because let's be real here. I didn't have anybody recommend this book to me. I didn't have anybody being like, "Oh, you need to read the second book. It gets better there." I just found this book, read it, and was like, "Holy shit, I'm obsessed with this," and then read all of them because of it. So it's yeah, like to be fair, I did obviously really like the first book. It was enough to suck me in and make me want to read the second book because this was before I was on Book Talk or Bookstagram or any of my friends had recommended it or read it. And I think I was one of the first people I ever knew that had even heard of this book. So literally yeah, I have to say I agree with you. Like it was good. It sucked me in. It made me care about the people in the world and what was going on. And yeah, it's a good book. I love it. This series will always be my
Period.
favorite.
Same. Now we have our listeners.
I will say most of our listeners agreed with a lot of the stuff that we said. A lot of the opinions are definitely going to be we had somebody write in that Resand is shitty after Aquabar. I think that Ellie kind of touched on that and agrees with that. I think that's pretty obvious. I do think that that he does start to do different things and we get to see a different side of him. I don't necessarily still like him. I haven't written him off yet. We talked about that already. We had somebody that said ACOTAR is the worst of SJM series. I do feel like that's pretty unpopular. Most people that
Yeah.
like, I would say either love ACOTAR or they just don't talk about it in general. But yeah, and then or they like don't read the books at all. I won't say that there are definitely people that like Throne of Glass more. I would say that there's Throne of Glass people and there's ACOTAR
Mhm.
people, but as a whole, I would say Crescent City gets the least amount of love in my opinion. I would say that's one that I haven't really seen so much. Rhysand having as many flags, red flags as Tamlin, controversial, okay? Because here's the thing, while I do admit that Rhys has red flags, saying as many as Tamlin, nah, I don't know about that, but maybe I think you might agree with that a little bit more.
I do agree with it.
Yeah, I can't say that he's as much of a red flag as Tamlin. Tamlin is a different level to me. It's the controlling factor, it's the need to possess and, own something that he feels belongs to him that I don't get that from Reese. Like, Reese definitely has made some questionable decisions, but when I stop and think about why, I can understand Reese's perspective. Whereas Tamlin is like a fucking crybaby who got his toy taken away and is upset about it. And Tamlin straight up has tantrums. Like, I can't put them on the same level, but I'm not saying Reese is perfect. He's definitely not perfect. And he definitely, especially in the first book, did some shit where I was like, oh. So yeah, I definitely say he has red flags, but I won't put him on the same level as Tamlin. But that's just me. The last one that's about ACOTAR is going to be that they don't understand the Nesta obsession. She was awful. And I think we all know if you've watched any of our ACOTAR episodes that I 1000% agree with this. Listen, I agree that she was awful. There's no argument about that for me. She was terrible. I literally hated her. I don't agree that I don't understand the Nesta obsession. I feel like for people that like Nesta, like I get why they like Nesta. She's not for me like the best person ever, but like I said earlier, she is maybe the most interesting character in ACOTAR as far as like interesting, like as far as female characters go. And so I give her that. Like she definitely has the most personality, like the most story of like overcoming and growth and character development. And so there is something to be said for that. But I'm not going to sit here and defend her for her behavior in the earlier books because she was awful.
Yeah, I feel like the like liking Nesta, not liking Nesta, I don't think it's like really unpopular because it's like it's so 50-50.
Mhm.
But I guess like people are starting to like her more, especially after Flame and Shadow. I saw so many posts on Reddit being like, I didn't like Nesta even after Silver Flames, but after Flame and Shadow, I like her. I was like, okay, period. Let's go.
Yeah, that's fair.
And she's obviously, yeah, she's gonna obviously have another big part probably in the upcoming books. Not probably, like she is. Like we were left on a fucking cliffhanger with her,
Yeah.
which I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen with that? I'm like confused of what's gonna be going on in the next fucking book. Is it gonna be about her or Elaine?
That
Because we're all waiting for an Elaine book.
No, the good thing that's been debating is I've seen a lot of people saying that
Yeah.
they think that it might be a continuation of her story, which I wouldn't be mad at because like I said, as of right now, she is the most interesting. I do feel like we need to get something on Elaine because if we don't soon, I'm gonna write her the
Yes.
fuck off. I'm just gonna be like, dude. But I could see the journey. I could see the setup of the Dusk Court and her and the Valkyries. Like I could
Mhm.
see the book that like how it would be written, so that's exciting. But yeah, no. I would say for me personally, as somebody who is not in the Nesta is amazing camp,
Mhm.
I disagree that it's 50-50. Now, like I said, maybe before Silver Flames and how fast it was like that. But yeah, no, I majority of the people that I see online love Nesta now. A lot of people, and I get it. No harm, no foul. I like she's just because she's not for me doesn't mean that she's not for everybody. But yeah, I see a lot of Nesta defenders, a lot. And maybe it's just because those are the people that are on the internet, like typing. I'm sure there's plenty of people that don't feel the need to go out and be like, I hate Nesta just to stir up controversy
Mhm.
or whatever. What are you going to go on a post that's about Nesta and be like, I hate Nesta? It's what would be the point of that? But I definitely see a lot of people that really love Nesta, that people that didn't even really like her in the beginning that love her now. So I would say not liking Nesta at this point is a little bit more of an unpopular opinion, in it, just from what I see on the internets. But yeah, and then our last listener write in Actually, not about any of the book series. It's more about the author herself. And so we go ahead and finish with that. Somebody wrote in that SJM's writing is better concise and she should stop releasing books over 400 pages. And you know what? I might agree with that. Okay. I might agree with that. I'm not going to lie. As much as I
I
love
might
a
too.
big book, what my point was about Silver Flames, definitely about House of Flame and Shadow. And since Sky of Breath is also, those are the last three releases, I have to say that I don't know if I disagree with that. There is a lot of these things in these books where I'm like, that could have not been in there, or it could have not been as drawn out as it was. Like, and so definitely I might agree with that. I might agree with that. I do feel like 400 pages is short, but then again, I'm comparing that to an 800-page book. I'm like, how do you cut out
Yeah.
half of Sky and Breath or like half of Silver Flames? That's a lot to cut out, in my opinion. But I'm sure that there is a way to do it. And I do feel like she would maybe get these books out a little bit faster if she wasn't writing 800 to a
That's so
thousand
true.
page books. Like, so maybe there's something to be said
Yes,
for that.
girl, we will read shorter books,
Just put them
please.
out
I
here.
don't
Yeah,
care.
just put them out. I need at least
Yeah,
one book a year, especially when you're doing crossing series. 4 years between a sequel is a long time to wait. That's long. That even movies don't take
it's
that
really
long
long.
to put out. That's
Dude, it's pretty wild.
yeah. When I think about like
Ugh,
books that fucking not that listen, I'm not gonna sit here and act like Iron Flame didn't have its issues. Iron Flame did have its issues. I felt like it could have taken some more time to really flesh out some things. But that being said, this woman put out 2 books in 1 year and is already releasing the 3rd book, like, basically a year after the 2nd book got released, like, a year and 2 months. So, I'm just saying, and I know that when she first started making these books, she was putting out, like, books back to back to back, and she had kids, and so life does happen, but I'm just saying, you really are really counting on your fans to be taking 4 years between Silver Flames came out in 2021, and we're not gonna get the next ACOTAR book until 2025 at the earliest? Who are you,
literally
George
at the
R.R. Martin?
earliest. Dude, that's so shitty when you think about it. At the earliest, 2025, at the latest, 2026.
Who are you?
Girl, I'm gonna be dead by the time these
Literally.
books are
I
fucking.
saw the funniest TikTok about millennials in nursing homes, and the girl had a copy of ACOMAF and was like reading it or whatever. And I was like, that's literally gonna be us, except it's gonna be the newest release because that shit's still gonna be coming out when I'm in a fucking nursing home. Cannot write sagas if you're not gonna at least stick to some sort of like schedule. And from what I can tell, there's no end in sight. She's like, all right, 4 more books. Like
Right.
she hasn't said this is gonna be a 7 book series. This is gonna be a 6 book series. She hasn't said that. So it's just like us just here like 4 to 5 years. Like I said, who are you? George Martin? Diana Gabaldon? Like you cannot like I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to get too worked up over it. We're almost at the end of the episode, but yeah, that really, I don't even know if that's an unpopular opinion because I feel like most of the fandom is definitely on the same page as us with that right now, just like how long it's taking for these books to come out. And like I said, I do feel like on one part, we're like spoiled kids because we did just get a book in January, which was only a couple months ago. But I feel like when I think about the fact that she only just started writing this book a month or 2 ago.
It's annoying because I'm pretty sure she announced earlier that she's already been writing it. So I was just like, I'm so confused. When she made that Instagram
Yeah.
post of her in the mountains, I'm like, are you just now starting? Because I thought you already announced that you were writing it.
I think she had started it, but there's a lot that goes into a writing process of brainstorming and getting your
Hmm.
characters and your plot worked out. She could have started working on it and workshopping
Oh,
it, but not actually started writing it. But either way, it's just your fans only have so much patience and like
yeah.
they're coming out. This genre is so saturated right now too. There's so many romantasy series. Like my TDR is insane with like just romantasy books, like not any other kind of books, just Romantasy, not to mention the other books that I like to read. And so it's just there's so much saturation in this market that just she'll always be like queen. She basically started the Romantasy genre. There was other authors,
Mhm.
but she definitely made that word a thing and popularized it. But it's just like you got to give your fans something, man, especially if the books are not going to be up to the same standard as they have been, because I feel like that's another reason why people are so impatient for ACOTAR 6 now, is because House of Flame and Shadow was such a letdown that like they're like we need more and we need it fast, because if you don't, like I feel people falling off. I feel like this is not going to be the empire that it is right now. So I don't know. I hope that we get it sooner rather than later. But even still, I know I won't have it in my hands before February 2025. And so it's just, oh man, patiently waiting,
Awesome.
patiently waiting. I'll just keep looking at all these other book releases that are coming out and try to get excited about something else. But yeah, thank you guys so much for writing in. That was so much fun. It was so cool to see you guys participate and to hear everybody's unpopular opinions. I know we all love this stuff. Obviously, it's what's brought us all together. So no hate to anybody. If your opinions are different than ours, that's great. Let us know in the comments if something that I said was like you were like, "Oh, hell no," or something that you were like, "Wow, I never thought about that. That's fucking true." Let us know. We want to hear from you guys. We'll be doing more polls and more different things on Instagram. It means the world does that you guys participate in those. We do hope that you enjoyed this episode. It was a lot of fun, even if it was stressful at times, trying to calm myself down over some of this shit. But next week, we will be returning officially with our deep dives of A Court of Wings and Ruin, starting with the prologue through chapter 5. Please feel free to email or DM us any other Romantasy books or series that you guys would be interested in us covering. We really would like you guys to do for us, because we're thinking about after Akawar switching to maybe another series or something like that. So please, any suggestions, especially if you know a series that is like ACOTAR, in the sense of like it's fun to theorize or fun to do in-depth discussions about characters. It has a lot of complex characters, a lot of complex feelings. We would really appreciate those recommendations so we can take a look at them and start maybe spreading the love to some other romantasy content. That being said, if you haven't watched any of our other episodes, we have so many out now covering different romantasy series, just giving our initial thoughts and impressions, as well as some deep dives of Crescent City, ACOTAR, up until ACOWAR. Finally, again, if you're still here, still watching, please take some time to comment and subscribe. If you don't know what to comment, just literally tell me what opinions you agreed with and what opinions you didn't agree with. Liking and subscribing really helps us drive the channel forward. And if you are listening on a podcast platform, just take a second to give us a review, or at the very least, rate us. We really appreciate it. Either way, give us a follow over on our socials. We have Instagram and TikTok. We have a ton of fun over there, different memes, different romantasy content, and different things like this. We will be delving more into that even as we cover more romantasy series. And yeah, we love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. And since we didn't cover just one book today, I wanted to go ahead and finish off with a Sarah J Maas quote just from the author herself. The quote is, "Don't let anyone shame you for what you read or what you love in general. Many people are going to tell you not to do XYZ things." All right. Bye, guys.